My name is Jake Hoyle, Vice President at EB-5AN. I have a background in finance, worked at Credit Agricole Investment Bank and at Jefferies Group Middle Market Investment Bank in sales and trading. Joined EB-5AN a number of years ago, back in 2017. I've been with the company for a long time. I lead our project team, structuring deals, underwriting deals, conducting our due diligence, and ultimately bringing high quality EB5 projects to market. As I said, I've been with the firm for a long time, and I've seen the speed at which EB5AN has grown over the years. And I think the primary reason for that is the company's transparency and their reputation in the EB5 space. EB5AN really differentiates themselves within the market in terms of the amount and the quality of information that we provide to investors all over the world as they're learning about EB5 and ultimately moving through the whole process. So we spent a lot of work and a lot of time educating the market. So EB5 changes a lot over time. I've seen a number of very large changes in the industry over the last 5 to 7 years. And EB5AN is always at the forefront of packaging up that information, simplifying it, and presenting it in a digestible way to investors, to attorneys, to all stakeholders in EB5. I think that's a key differentiator for our company. Another way that EB5AN really stands out in the market is the type and quality of projects that we have. So the company's been in business for over a decade, and we have never had a project fail, never lost any investor capital, and never had an EB5 investor denied for a project purpose. So with that kind of track record and reputation, we've just garnered a lot of goodwill in the industry, and investors appreciate it. It goes a very long way. At EB5AN, we look at a lot of projects. We're one of the biggest EB5 regional centers in the entire country, and many projects approach us every week looking for EB5 capital to bring into their deal. So we see a ton of projects. We evaluate each one and determine whether it's a project that we feel comfortable investing in and putting our investors' money in. And so there are a number of important factors that we look at when we're diligencing those deals. Number one is just, will this work for EB5 or not, right? Is it located in a targeted employment area, and will it meet the other requirements of the EB5 program to be able to bring in capital? Another critical factor in evaluating a project is whether it's fully capitalized or not. So does the project have all of the money in place that will be used to finance the full development? Or if that money is not in place today, what is the likelihood that the project will be able to secure that financing and then ultimately complete the project? So not all projects are like that. Some projects may have financing in place now that's short term and is maturing soon, and the plan after that loan or preferred equity or whatever it may be expires or matures. There's no plan after that and no line of sight on new financing. It may just not have a loan at all, and whether we have to evaluate whether that's because the project's going to have an issue getting a loan, or maybe the developer doesn't have the ties to banks and the credit markets that they need in order to secure the financing, or maybe it just hasn't happened yet, right? The project's just too early, but that financing will be secured with a certain, with a high degree of certainty moving forward. So that's really one thing that we look at is, will this project be able to get the money that they need to build it out with or without EB5? We like to invest in projects that have the money needed without EB5. So it's not fully dependent on us as the regional center bringing all the capital through the EB5 loan or equity investment. If there's a shortfall with the EB5, then the project will still be completed. And that's really key for EB5 investors' financial safety, right? You never want to be one of the first few investors in a deal, and then maybe something changes in EB5 or the market slows down. There aren't any more investors that join the project, and then ultimately it doesn't get built because there's not enough money. So that's really a key factor for us. Another is job creation. So we like to focus on projects that have already made significant progress with construction and created a large number or even all of the necessary EB5 jobs for all the investors in the project. And that just helps reduce immigration risk as close to zero as you can get. If you come into a project and construction's already progressed to the point where all of the EB5 jobs are created, you're taken care of from day one, right? The minute that your money is invested in the project, you've already been assigned those jobs that have already been created, and that eliminates just a huge hurdle that you need to hit to get your EB5 application approved. Another key factor, and perhaps the most important factor that we look at when we're evaluating projects, is the developer. So who is the developer? Who comprises their executive team? How long have they been doing this type of project? What types of projects do they do? How have those previous projects gone? Were they successful? Did they fail? What financing was in place? Was it repaid? Was it repaid on time? These are the kind of things that we look at, and we just really focus on working with developers who are specialized in real estate specifically. That's their core competency. They develop, operate, and maybe sell real estate, and they have a stellar track record. So we work with developers who have never had any of their previous projects fail. They've been in business for years and years and years, and all of their previous projects have been successful. So when EB5AN is structuring a deal, we underwrite the terms and the EB5 and financial structure to meet what investors in the market are currently looking for. And we really have three main investment criteria that we look at. One is we want to ensure, first and foremost, that the EB5 investors in our projects receive their green cards, that their I-526Es are approved, that they're able to adjust their status, and that ultimately their Form I-829 will be approved and they'll have a permanent green card and be able to immigrate to the United States and ultimately pursue citizenship if they're interested in that. So that's really our number one priority, is to make sure that the deals are structured in a way that we're fully compliant with all of the EB5 program requirements, with all of the new requirements under the EB5 Reform and Integrity Act of 2022, and that investors, when they invest their money and they go through the process, they're gonna get their green cards. Number two, we focus on safe investments that will return the full amount of EB5 investment capital. So at EB5AN, we focus on deals that we call are right in the middle of the fairway. So deals are maybe not as sophisticated or not as creative as other deals that you'll see, but these are very standard real estate developments. We only focus on real estate projects at EB5AN. We don't like operational businesses. We don't like some of the other asset classes out there, and real estate specifically is what we focus on, just because we believe that maximizes financial security. We structure our deals primarily as debt, although we do have equity investments as well. And yeah, that second criteria is to just ensure that the money remains in compliance for the full term of the loan or the equity investment and ultimately is repaid in full. And then third, kind of the tertiary goal, is to make sure that investors actually earn some money on the investment. But priority number one is get the green card, move to the US. Priority number two is to make sure that the investment is returned in full at the end of the term.